Think scaling AI is hard? Think again. With Watson X, you can deploy AI across any environment. Above the clouds, helping pilots navigate flights, and on lots of clouds, helping employees automate tasks. On-prem, so designers can access proprietary data, and on the edge, so remote bank tellers can assist customers. Watson X works anywhere, so you can scale AI everywhere. Learn more at ibm.com/WatsonX. IBM. Let's create.
Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, distribute it everywhere, and even earn money, all in one place for free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit your podcasts right from your phone or your computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. Ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel so supported in the creation and distribution of my show. Spotify for Podcasters hosts masterclasses, office hours, and more to help creators develop and fine-tune their skills. I highly recommend you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to spotify.com/podcasters to get started. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to 80/20. Happy Valentine's Day. I really wanted this week's episode to go up on Valentine's Day because we're going to be talking about love. All around, all areas of your life, we're going to be talking about love and how you can tune in, how you can spread it, how you can feel it, and how to love your life and love the people in your life and love yourself. It's kind of a big deal, okay? And I wanted it to go up on Valentine's Day because I know a lot of people just kind of struggle with this holiday. I feel like there's always a lot of pressure to do all these fancy things for your significant other or just have a significant other. I have a boyfriend and I love him so, so dearly, but I can't be with him on Valentine's Day because we're long distance. You know, it's always hard, especially if you're single. I remember, I was about to say back in the day when I was single, but when I didn't have a boyfriend on Valentine's Day, I would always get so sad. And it's really just a made-up holiday. Let's be real, guys. Valentine's Day, it's not a real holiday. It's like a Hallmark holiday. I think that's what you call it. I don't know if that's what you guys call it, but basically they made it up because they wanted to sell more chocolates and teddy bears and cards and just, I guess celebrate love. And I love to celebrate love, don't get me wrong, but it is a made-up holiday. And so at least in my relationship, we never make a big deal about it because it's a made-up holiday, and then Sam's birthday always falls right after Valentine's Day, and so it just doesn't make sense to do Valentine's Day gifts and all that stuff. If we were together, we'd probably go out to a dinner, but regardless, it's a made-up holiday. So if you're not celebrating today, it's not a big deal. If you are celebrating, I'm so excited for you. I hope that you have a blast. But for those of you who are maybe just feeling grossed out today, or maybe you're feeling lonely today, or maybe you're just feeling annoyed by all the Instagram posts, this episode's for you. And even if you are enjoying the day, this episode is still for you. I don't want to exclude the people who are having a good day from this episode. I want everybody to listen because it's not necessarily about being single or necessarily about Valentine's Day, but it's just about how to feel, spread, and be loved, love yourself, all that jazz. So before we get into the pod, I wanted to remind you guys to follow me on Instagram. It is linked in the show notes. My username is @LilyRakow. That's LILYRAKOW. And you can follow the podcast Instagram. It's 8020pod, 8020pod on Instagram. I typically post there when there's any podcast updates, a new episode coming, or anything like that. I don't really do a ton with the podcast Instagram. It is on my to-do list, but I feel like my to-do list is really, really deep, and that's just such a low priority. So if y'all have any fun ideas of how to spice up the Instagram, let me know. I'd love to do like listener takeovers, but I just feel like the Instagram following on the pod like isn't there. So like it wouldn't be worth it, you know? Like there has to be, I don't know, there needs to be something more. There, like I need to spice it up. I just don't have any ideas. So let me know what you guys think. And if you haven't already, I would really, really appreciate if you would head to this show's page and just leave a little review, hopefully something nice, if that's what you're feeling, or just rate the podcast, leave a review. That really helps me out in getting my content out to more people and just growing the community. So if you feel it in your heart, like you want to leave a nice little review, I would really, really appreciate that. I really, truly appreciate each and every single one of you for coming back and consuming my content in some way, shape, or form. Every like, every listen, every follow, like it truly helps me to be able to keep creating content for free for all of you. Like I don't get paid from the podcast. I really never want to monetize the podcast just because I love having it be, first off, I never listen to podcast advertisements. I always skip through them. So I'm like, why bother monetizing the podcast when I know that people don't listen to the podcast advertisements? And I also just want this to be a space where we can just talk. It's just like for you guys, you know, it's just like another free resource. With my YouTube channel, obviously like ads roll before video plays, and I love, love, love working with brands over on my YouTube channel, showing products that I truly believe in. But my podcast is something that I want to just kind of keep like low key in a way. But like, I don't know how to describe it. They're two completely different platforms, and I want to keep it that way. But they do kind of like cross over within like the stuff that I talk about, and they're all by me and for you. So if you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube channel or subscribe to the pod or follow me on Instagram, whatever, I am always posting content on one of those platforms, at least one thing every single day between my podcast, my YouTube, my Instagram. And there's always going to be something new and exciting for you guys to listen to watch, to read, to follow along with, etc. So all of those links will be in the description. Getting into the theme of this episode, and I've written out a few little points that I want to make, and I've also written out like a little micro blog that I want to post on my Instagram today. And today isn't Sunday, but I'm recording this on a Friday. Valentine's Day is on a Sunday, right? Yeah. Okay. Valentine's Day is in 2 days, but while you're listening, I'm going to be posting this little microblog on my Instagram, and the podcast is just kind of going to be like an extension of what I'm posting on Instagram. And I was just having a conversation with my little sister a few days ago about how it's so hard for so many people to find happiness and to find love, and not necessarily like romantic relationships, but just to find like love in their heart when there's so much hate out in the world. And it's so easy to be unhappy about things when you're looking for things to be unhappy about. It's so easy to be angry at the world when you have anger inside of you. But when you start to tune into the good stuff gets better and the bad stuff starts to fade away. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is that it's really hard to feel love when all you're focused on is hate. And I see it every single day. There are people coming into my comments and my DMs looking for a fight, and there's people that are like pissed off at the grocery store cashier and someone yelling at the barista for making their coffee wrong. And there's just so much, and those are just like little like tiny minuscule examples in comparison to like the scale of hate that is like in the world right now. There's a quote that I love, and I don't know who the author is, but I just heard it like verbally one time and I didn't even ask like who said it. But the quote says, "Be a fountain, not a drain." Like, you kind of have to laugh because that's just funny, but like if you think about it, like a fountain is constantly like spewing water and like it's fresh and it's, you know, all the good stuff. And obviously like a drain is a drain. It takes the water, sucks it right out. So think about like people who have really good energy, like they walk into a room and they're just one of those people that is always so nice to everybody. They're so happy. And I'm not saying that you have to be happy all the time, but like when that one person walks into a room and they just light up the whole room because their energy is just so good and so loving and so kind that it's contagious. But that can also have the opposite effect. So people who are draining people walk into a room and everybody just kind of feels like this heaviness. It's so hard to describe, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. When somebody walks in and they just have a bad attitude, they're angry, they're pissed off at just like the little things in life, and it makes it so much harder for everybody else in the room to be in a good mood when this one draining person is in a bad mood. And it's okay to be that draining person sometimes. I'm not saying you can never be angry, you can never be mad, but I would much rather be the fountain rather than the drain. And I'm sure that you guys would probably pick the fountain too. When I think back to like the lowest of the lowest points in my life, I just think about the terrible mindset that I was in. And I woke up mad at the situation. I woke up mad at certain people. And throughout my whole day, I let the little things get to me. And granted, there were so many other problems going on. I could have been more open-minded. I could have chosen to wake up happy instead of angry. I could have done little things in my life, like little habits, like daily gratitude practice, or even just going for a 30-minute walk to clear my head, or listening to good music that made me feel good, or surrounding myself with people who were uplifting rather than draining. And maybe I was one of those draining people. Maybe I was the one who was taking it out of other people, and that's why the other people around me felt draining. And I know that in hindsight, it's easy for me to say, oh, I could have done this better. I could have done that better. But in the moment, it felt like all I could do was be down. And if you're feeling like all you can do is be down, and all you can do is beat yourself up over everything, all you can do is be down about every little thing, it doesn't have to be that way. Something too that I wanted to touch on is the lack of confidence that I had in myself, and the lack of, I guess, respect in a way, and the lack of self-love that I had during that time period. I really just had no idea what I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to do with my life. And I really found myself comparing my situation and my mindset and everything that I was going through to other people on social media, or like other girls in my sorority, or like other people on my college campus, and just looking at their lives thinking, oh, like they have it all together. And I was looking for happiness and solutions to all my problems in all the wrong places. I saw a quote on Pinterest the other day and actually wrote it down on a sticky note, and I put it on my bedside table, but it said, happiness is an inside job. And I could not agree more, because in those moments when I was looking for happiness in all the wrong places, I never ever found it. And the only thing that truly, truly worked was when I looked inward. I realized what I was doing wasn't really the best option or options for me. And that in order to be happy again, to feel love for myself, for the people around me, for my relationships, for my friendships, that had to all come from inside me. And nobody else could do the work for me, only I could do that. You guys are probably like, Lily, that's great. You were sad, now you're happy. You felt like shit, now you feel all love in your heart. Like, how'd you get there? You have to put in the work. Our whole society is really wrapped up in like this instant gratification thing. And a lot of times when you're looking for happiness in all the wrong places, you're just looking for that instant gratification, that instant like boost, and then that quick fall. This is where like the hookup culture plays in, especially in college. People will just party all weekend to fill some sort of void, or you guys can fill in the blanks. There are so many habits that are cop-out habits, basically bad habits that people have to cop out of actually caring for themselves. So before I give you my like quick tips and tricks, I just want to remind you that nothing good comes without hard work. I'm going to rattle off like these tips and tricks and stuff, but like you have to put in the work. You can't just listen to this and be like, wow, Lily, that's great, thanks, and then just like continue on with your day. Where the change really happens is what you do after this podcast is over. And it truly is like the littlest habits. I feel like I say this all the time. It's the littlest habits, the littlest practices, the things that you do every single day that add up to make the most difference in your life. So how can you spread more love? How can you spend more time spreading love, feeling love, happiness, kindness, all that jazz? Start your day with a little bit of gratitude. It can be in the form of a journal. It could be in the form of waking up and texting your favorite person like, hey, I'm really grateful for you today. Or just saying out loud, like waking up, oh, I'm really grateful for my legs so that I can walk downstairs and get this warm cup of coffee that I'm really grateful for. It can be the littlest things. It doesn't have to be this big, huge, elaborate, like, oh, I'm so grateful for the best day ever yesterday, and like I'm so grateful for the best day ever that's going to happen today. And like it doesn't have to be this like fluffy thing. It can literally just be, I'm grateful for my legs, I'm grateful for a roof over my head. You can even write down like the good things that you want to happen today, the things that you're like pre-grateful for. Like you're already grateful for it because you know that it's going to happen and you know that it's going to be so good. Surround yourself with uplifting people. This goes back to the be a fountain or be a drain. And sometimes you are the drain, okay? Like, let's just be real. Sometimes you're the drain, but you have to realize that you're the drain before you can move on from that. But if you are a drain, you're probably surrounding yourself with people who are also really, really draining. I also heard a quote the other day, and I'm going to kind of spin it because I really don't remember exactly what the quote said, but it said, if your circle is not like setting goals, achieving their goals, working towards, big things in life, if your circle's not pushing themselves to be the best versions of themselves, then that's not a circle, that's a cage. And I thought that was such an interesting perspective, really tuning into who you're spending the most time with. And if those people have a similar mindset that you do, or similar goals that you do, or can somehow like mentor you, uplift you, make you feel like the best version of yourself, like that's the type of people that you need to surround yourself with. And if your circle isn't doing that for you, it's time to find a new group of friends. My next little life hack for you is to choose the words that you use in your own head very, very wisely. We have full control over the words that we use to describe ourselves in our own heads. So you can walk past a mirror and you have the choice to say like, oh my gosh, I love my outfit today. I really feel confident in this outfit. Or you have the choice to stand in front of the mirror and pick yourself apart for every little thing. So when we're talking about love, whether it's towards ourselves or towards other people, it really, really starts with the words that we use in our brains first, and then obviously speaking out into the universe, whatever words we're using to ourselves or to others. I wanted to remind you guys how important it is to put yourself first and your own needs first and your own goals, your own hopes, your own dreams, your own work, your own mindset, your own mental health before anything. And I really come back to this idea quite often because I think of the times when I was the most unhappy, when I felt the most unloved, was when I wasn't putting myself first. Before you can give love to anybody else, before you can receive love from anybody else, you need to learn how to love yourself. And it can't be this love-hate relationship. It has to be this love-love relationship. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I think a lot of times people think that a significant other is going to fix them. A best friend is going to fix them. Oh, if they could just have this one person in their life that's going to love them, it's going to help them learn how to love themselves. But that really just comes from you. You have to learn how to love yourself before you can love anybody else. It sounds so cliche, but you have to start making yourself a top priority. And I know a lot of you are in college, so please listen up when I say this. Your health, your mental health, your physical health, your life, you are more important than any class, than any diploma, than any degree, than any sorority activity, than any like thesis project. I'm not saying drop out of college. I'm not saying stop participating in extracurricular activities, but unless you are okay in the relationship you have with yourself, it's going to be really, really hard to succeed in other areas of your life until you have that bond, until you have that self-love, that self-confidence to be able to be successful in these various areas of life. I just want to like grab all of you and just like shake you and just be like, girl, wake the frick up and start making time for yourself. I hear it all the frickin' time. Oh, I just don't have time to cook dinner. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to do the self-care thing. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. I would really love to run a marathon, but I don't have time to train. I would really love to start a YouTube channel, but I don't have time. I would really love to start a podcast with my friends because we talk about all this great stuff, but nobody has time. Like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Okay. Like, nobody gets an extra 1 or 2 so they can do it all. Like, we all have the same 24 hours. I know that there are areas of your life that you can spend less time in and begin spending more time in the things that you actually want to do. So I want to do like a little exercise with you guys really quick, just so you can kind of like get your priorities straight, essentially. Think about one thing in your life that you really want to do. We'll use one of my goals as an example. I really want to write a cookbook. So writing a cookbook, the easy part is coming up with the recipes. The hard part is finding who the hell prints a cookbook, who manufactures a cookbook, what pictures are we going to need to go in the cookbook, what's the cover going to look like, what's the paper type, what fonts are we going to use, just like all this little teeny tiny stuff that goes into making a cookbook. And there are probably like a laundry list of other things that I don't even know that go into making a cookbook. And so this is a goal of mine. I've been thinking about it forever now. I've been talking about it like here and there in my vlogs and stuff. And it's something that I really want to do. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being it's completely irrelevant, 10 being it's critical. In my head, I would love to rate this goal of mine as a 10. It's such a high priority for me. I want to do it. I love to do it. But in reality, my actions are showing that it's a 1. I'm not actively looking for the paper type. I'm not on Adobe InDesign making each page. I'm not taking pictures of the foods that I'm making. I'm writing down the good recipes that we make for dinner. I'm writing down, cool ideas and things that I want to make. I'm doing like the beginning stages of it, but I'm not actively working towards this thing that I want to do for you guys, for my business, for me. It's a dream right now. It's just a dream, and it's not a priority, not really actively working towards it as a goal. So there are so many things that you probably think in your head, oh, that's a priority. Like going to the gym is a priority. But unless you're actively working towards it and actively doing it, it's not really a priority. So until you start really checking in and realizing, oh, maybe I'm just thinking that that's a priority, it's not actually a priority, things are not going to change. Like we talked about earlier, happiness is an inside job. And so until you get your priorities straight, it's going to be hard to get to where you want to be. At the end of the day, it's really about showing up for yourself, showing yourself love. And until you do that for yourself, it's really, really, really hard to do it for other people. And you have to shift your mindset from unfulfillment to happiness. And once you do that, there is a change. I promise that you will see a change in your own life, in the lives of other people, the people around you, the strangers that you see in the grocery store and the Starbucks drive-thru, or just it makes such a difference when you view life through the lens of love and kindness and happiness. If you can't do that for yourself, there's no way that you can do it for other people, and there's no way that other people are going to want to even do it for you. And it takes time, it takes work, but seriously guys, good shit starts to happen when you put yourself first and when you remember that the relationship that you have with yourself is the most important relationship that you're ever going to have. And if you're always fighting with yourself and telling yourself that you can't do it, bringing on these negative thoughts surrounding, like, it's like you wouldn't want the bad stuff for like your best friend. It's like, why do you do it to yourself? think about that for a second. Over on my Instagram, I'm posting a few ideas of things that you can do for yourself today and every other day of the week as well, but specifically today. So I'm just going to read them off to you guys, and I'll leave the post in the description. I'm also going to have a few like Valentine's Day themed recipes over on that post. So if you guys want to check them out, you totally should. These are things that you probably already have in your house, easy things to cook up, whip up, just some treats, because treat yourself because it's Valentine's Day. Okay, first thing, you guys hear me say this all the time, but jot down a few things that you're grateful for. You're gonna feel a huge shift in your mood automatically. Put on a good playlist, like put on some. Taylor Swift just dropped her new Love Story song, so put on Taylor Swift Love Story and create your own little love story with yourself. Open the windows, let the sunshine in, and I think it's supposed to rain all weekend, but even if it's raining, just open the blinds, let in a little bit of natural light. It truly is such a huge mood booster. Cook your favorite meal or your favorite little treat. And like I said, I'm going to be posting recipes on my Instagram, and I try to post, I feel like I've been horrible at posting on Instagram recently, but I am going to try to post more. I'm shifting into posting more recipes and more food stuff on my Instagram, so you guys should definitely check it out. Take a bubble bath, get outside and play if you can. If it's not cold, if it's not rainy, get outside and play. Decide that today is going to be a good day, because it's going to be a good day if you make it a good day. And don't forget to say I love you to yourself and to all the people around you, and maybe not to strangers because that would be weird, but just say I love you, and you can never overuse it. And it's a really good phrase as long as you mean it. So I hope that this episode inspired you to show yourself a little bit of love, shift your mindset, and just fall in love with your life. Live life, enjoy life. That's all I have for you today. I love you all so much. Have a great, fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you guys on Thursday. Bye.